If the candidates for initiation and those who are sitting in on the yajna can please settle yourselves down as best as you can. And we will need, I'm going to start with the class and then we'll do the achaman a little later because it'll take a while to settle down. And changing beads will come a little later, if that's okay. Now, those who are candidates, please do try to settle yourselves down in a suitable place for the yajna. I don't know how many are coming. I don't see so many right now. Are there some devotees from Kadamba Kanana Maharaj with us today who are taking? Please listen. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Are there any candidates from His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Maharaj who are sitting with us today for the yajna? Please put up your hand if there is. Only one. Is that the total? Nobody else is coming. Only one. So that's simple. Okay. So I think everyone is assembled. In front of Srila Prabhupada, in front of Radha Gopinath Ji, in front of Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, in front of Gaurni Tai, in front of all the Vaishnavas today. We would like to make a clear statement that we are now going to begin with this auspicious ceremony. And we ask you all please to bless the event, bless the candidates, and kindly stay with us and bring auspiciousness, more auspiciousness to this event. So we will begin now with kirtan, and we will proceed after kirtan. We'll see how we're doing. If we're ready, then we'll do the usual bead changing and achaman. Do we have sufficient achaman cups? Okay. But that will be after the kirtan, once everyone's calmed down a little bit. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Bolo. Namaste Sarasvate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pastyacha Deshatarine Namaste Pacharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Ramo, Ramo, Ramo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Gauranga, Nityananda, Hare Rama, Jai Radha Gopinath, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Bo Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Ashtota Satusha A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Ananta Kota Vaishnav Indaki Namacharya Shri Haridasa Thakur ki Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Govardhavendra ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda ki Govardhan ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Mayapur Dham ki Ganga Maya ki Yamuna Maya ki Tulasi Deva ki Bhakti Deva ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Gornitai ki Shri Jagannath Baladev Shabhadra ki Shri Radha Gopinath ki Go Premanandi Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to the assembled of us. All glories to the assembled of us. All glories to the assembled of us. All glories to Sri Guru and Garanga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Badaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nevasesha Sanyavadi Paschachadeshatarine Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yen Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tadati Shva Padantikam. Special sound effects there. Hare Krishna, I need some tissues. Are they nearby? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Hungry? You're hungry? Don't eat the bananas, please. At the first initiation in San Francisco, when Prabhupada said, now offer the bananas, they thought his accent was very strong. And the devotees didn't really hear clearly. They thought he meant eat the banana. They started peeling the bananas to eat them. And then he said, now bow down. They all started blowing on the fire. Smoke everywhere. Blow down, blow down, blow down. Yeah, so we hope that today we won't have quite such, let's say, extreme events like that. We must say, before we proceed a little bit further, we have Achaman cups. Yeah, okay, good. We have garlands. So they've already got their garlands. They're enthusiastic here even before the announcement. And in a few moments we'll be changing the beads on the first initiates. A few minutes, unless they've already done it. Which I can't imagine because I've got the beads here. But nothing is impossible. Mystic powers. So yes, today on this very auspicious, I think today is, what is the day on the calendar today? Sankranti? Sankranti, very good. Very auspicious day. If we chant Hare Krishna. Now, it so happens that according to our Purohit friend, devotee friend, who's very expert, it so happens that our events today will coincide with a period of time called the Rahu Kala. Many of you have heard of this occasion. I'm sure Ganesham Prabhu knows what is Rahu Kala. It's not considered to be the most auspicious time of the day. However, we are going to now say what is called a sankalpa, very simple, a vow, a statement of intent, which creates auspicious, like winds, to carry us over. This material world, Kaler Dosha Nide Rajan Asti Heku Mahangunad, is an ocean of faults. There's nothing auspicious practically in this age of Kali. Whatever time of the day or night, place, circumstance, everything is basically speaking, contaminated, isn't it? Practically even your jobs, you're implicated in a most sinful society. Oh, I'm just an IT person. Yeah, but your IT work is furthering and enhancing Kali's business. The false monetary system is the main weapon which Kali uses to captivate everyone and bewilder everyone. Now there are millions of other varieties, with social media being phenomenal, a phenomenal tool to destroy the human beings completely. It's very hard in Kali Yuga. You go on social media, you even in ISKCON, you hear all kinds of devastating subject matters which destroy our devotion. They may be right or wrong, but they do nothing to enhance our love of Krishna. It's such a difficult age. The only ekamahanguna auspicious thing in this age, kirtanad eva Krishnasya. Kirtan. If what we're doing, whether it's this thing or that thing, doesn't enhance our absorption in kirtan, it is an obstacle, a disturbance to our lives. Our purpose of life is to become absorbed in kirtan rasa. So we'll make a little vow. It's very simple. I don't even know what it is. I'm going to say it as it comes. Sankalpa or vow of intent. And we're going to ask you to, do they all join in? I'll say a word or two. And then if we ask you all to, because, it's so difficult. We want all the help we can get. It's hard enough as it is to maintain regulated principles, to chant your rounds, to stay in the association of devotees, to not get mentaled out, etc. Isn't it? Is there anyone here who hasn't found sometimes difficulty in doing this? Nobody's found any difficulty. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. I'm not sure. I'm in the wrong movement, maybe. I'm not sure. But it's not an easy thing for anyone in this Kali Yuga. Prabhupada made it clear that nobody can follow strictly. Neither sannyasi, neither vanaprastha, neither grihastha, neither brahmachari. Nobody. Prabhupada's own words. Nobody can follow perfectly according to the rules and regulations. Let's stop getting on each other's cases all the time. Look at your own case. You're overweight, by the way. 20 kilos only. They only give you 7 off you go on what's it called, AirAsia. You stand there with the weighing scales, Yeah, we're all overweight. We're carrying too many anarthas. Too many, whatever, useless thoughts. So, Hare Krishna, so at this moment of time, I don't even know what moment of time we're in. What's the time? 9 o'clock, okay. So, at this moment, auspicious moment of the day, we'd like to ask you to please repeat. My dear Lord, my dear Srila Prabhupada, Shri Shri Gaurnitai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, and all of the wonderful assembled devotees here today, and all the wonderful devotees who are not assembled here today, which is the majority. You don't have to repeat that. We may make a declaration now that we will begin this most wonderful, auspicious ceremony of welcoming and enhancing Vaishnavas into the family of the Sri Gaudiya Madhva, Sri Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. I don't think you can remember all that though. Okay? We want to request their Lordship's mercy, the blessings of their acharyas and all the Vaishnavas here. Repeat. This is the last sentence. We want to request, we humbly request, that you please bless the devotees here today who are sitting here at this ceremony. To enhance their devotion, to establish them firmly in the Brahma Gaudiya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. To remain firmly fixed in their service to their Guru as the representative of our wonderful parampara. So, my dear Lordships, with your mercy and blessings, we'd like to now officially proceed with this ceremony. We kindly beg you, please, with all of our faults, to please accept this little offering. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Now, on that note, I'm going to read one verse and purport of Srila Prabhupada. And there's a water for drinking. drinking somewhere. I'm really quite dehydrated. You have to excuse us. We've been traveling until yesterday afternoon for almost 72 hours. Somehow or another, our journey took us to many places, including we almost went to Mecca. We were in Jeddah, and we could have, well, I don't know if they let us, we did have enough time, but we didn't go to Mecca, but we were in the area. Mecca, if you don't know, is just outside of Jeddah, in Saudi Arabia. Okay, I'm going to read a famous verse to start with. Since when I heard about this particular timing, I thought, well, this is the right verse to chant. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mantratas tantratas chidrang Deshakalara vastutaha Sarvam karoti nishchidram Anusankirtanang tava. Many of you are familiar with this verse. It is often chanted at initiation ceremonies or other ceremonies, come to that, whatever they may be. And Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, not in this verse particularly, but in verses near this one, explains to make everything auspicious at ceremonies. One should discuss the pastime of Bali Maharaj and how Vamanadev took everything away, and the deeper intent of this particular pastime, you could say. Well, one of the deeper intents of this pastime is explained in this particular verse. And this verse was of all persons spoken by none other than, who knows? Pardon? I can't hear. Thank you, Shukracharya. Normally we don't quote Shukracharya very often. At least not in this light. But here we see him. He's playing a part on behalf of the Lord as the demon's spiritual master, and he behaves like a karma kandya priest and so many things. But ultimately he is devotee. And here he's revealing, you could say, in this verse, this essential aspect of this pastime. I'm not going to do the word for word. The translation, he says, he's talking to Lord Vishnu after Bali Maharaj had been cursed to go down to the lower planetary systems, to Satala Loka, etc. So why, Lord Vishnu said, did you curse him like this? What was his fault? What was his fault? So Shukracharya said this. He said to Lord, we've just tried to chant the Sanskrit. This is the English translation. There may be discrepancies. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras and in observing the regulative principles. There may be sometimes discrepancies, knowingly, unknowingly. And moreover, there may be discrepancies in regards to time, place, person, and paraphernalia. Now, if we really want to go, get into fault finding or whatever you want to call it, we could probably find fault in all of those things, right? I mean, everyone knows today we had to search out pure silver to line the kund. This is pure silver. Absolutely 100%. How many carat? 25 carat silver. Perfect. And we're going to throw it away afterwards, so keep your eyes open. Perfect, huh? Totally Vedic. Right? Is it silver? aluminium foil. Ki jai. And what to say? I mean, one sense we would try to avoid it, but it's all the time. You see, there's more aluminium underneath. Even if you get rid of that one, don't worry. There's another sheet underneath it all. It's Kali Yuga. The direction is probably not perfect either. I don't know. You seem to be square to the walls and everything. That's one way of doing it, but technically you have to arrange everything so you're exactly in the right direction. Everyone's sitting in the right direction. It's possible. It is possible that someone in this room has touched their mouth in the last 1 minute. Okay, turn on the water sprinklers. Turn on the water sprinklers quickly. The whole room is contaminated. Prabhupada didn't make that one time in one yajna. He saw a baby with his finger in his mouth, said, stop the yajna, start again. He just didn't normally do that, but sometimes he would just say, this is, you can't follow. Take your finger off your mouth, you monkey. He said, put his thumb in his, oh, dear me. I won't say who you are. But these things go on. We touch our feet, we scratch under our arms, and fiddle in our noses, pick our noses, fiddle in our ears. All kinds of things. Traditionally, none of these things could go on, right? Every mantra had to be perfectly pronounced. Right? Have you got your checker with you? Is he the checker of the mantras? Mantra checker? Many a times the devotees get the mantras wrong. They leave somebody out. The most extreme case I saw, that was in Vrindavan. I just happened to breeze in. There was no kirtan going on. There was no reading. It was just a pujari rambling off the mantras. Nobody knew what he was reading. I don't know if he didn't know either, to be honest. Because and this is a true story, he found out after about 10 minutes of this that he had the wrong page. It was a marriage ceremony. He was reading the mantras for sannyas. And without anyone's knowledge, I found out. But he just kind of readjusted things with it. Because nobody knows the difference anyway. Let's face it, Only if you're really, tuned in. This is Kali Yuga. The only thing, so this particular mantra here, of us here, there may be discrepancies about everything, but then Shukracharya says, but when your lordships, not Lord Shiva, not Lord this or that, but your Lord Vishnu, when your lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. This chidram. So the most important thing, we cannot possibly get everything right. You can try. Let's see what Prabhupada says. It's important to listen to the pure devotees. Now, Prabhupada wasn't very finicky about these things, but probably without people's notice, he was aware. And, the pure devotee can counteract any kind of situation, but we may not be so advanced. So a little bit of help is required. So let's see what Prabhupada says. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended. What has he recommended? Does anyone know what Lord Chaitanya recommended? Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, kalo nastyeva, 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 gatiranyata. What has he recommended? Any Sanskrit scholars here? Joy! Panditji! Bhakti Sarvabhauma! Sometimes you have your bhakti this and your bhakti that. Well, where's the bhakti? Right? I have got a bhakti vaibhava degree. Prabhu, can you wash the plates? No. I don't do that. I'm a bhakti vaibhava scholar. I don't wash plates. Sankirtan? Oh, I did that when I was a new boy. I'm not a new bhakta anymore. Let's see. This is an interesting subject. So, Harinam, we've already got the perfect translation here from our Newcastle Panditji. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, don't forget, You can't avoid it. And don't think that you're going to be free of hypocrisy and quarrel in this age. It's the characteristic of Kali Yuga. You can't take it away. It's like the dharma of the age. You can transcend. Of course, we should be. But the symptoms will still be there. Quarrel, hypocrisy, etc. Oh, start again. Just touch my eye. Oh no. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. In this age of Kali, it is extremely difficult to perform Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or sacrifices perfectly. Hardly anyone can chant the Vedic mantras with perfect pronunciation or accumulate the paraphernalia for Vedic performances. What did Prabhupada say? Come on, how attentive are you? What did he just say? Last sentence, more or less. Very good. Well done. Excellent. Now that's one of the symptoms, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, of actual disciple. 3 symptoms are there. One is, you've got to learn to hear attentively. We don't hear sometimes, So the person speaking, we're not really hearing. We're countering in our mind what they're saying sometimes, or we're not even listening at all. We're just going to speak our own philosophy, oblivious of what they just said. Or we'll simply repeat it as if they'd never said it in the first place. That's another symptom of not really hearing somebody. Somebody tells you something, and then you speak it again 5 minutes later as if no one had ever said it before. It's a good way not to get, blessings, and a good way not to progress. We must hear attentively. Hear attentively. Another is submissive attitude. Not so common in Kali Yuga. And the other is a very favorable service attitude. Service. Without that, one cannot really progress in spiritual life. You can something, but if we really want to progress, we've got to really cultivate these. Therefore, the sacrifice recommended in this age is Sankirtanam, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Yagyaya Sankirtanam Prahir Yajantihi Sumedasa. Those who are actually Sumedasha, those who are intelligent. It's not that, intelligence is measured by learning or analysis or logic that may be utilized, but it's not the measure of real intelligence. Is those who are really intelligent absorb themselves in the fruit, the real fruit of yajna in this age is Sankirtan. Instead of wasting time performing Vedic sacrifices, those who are intelligent, those who possess good, it's not just brain substance, good brain substance. It's better to have a little bit of good brain substance than a lot of bad brain substance. It's not a question of how big your brain is. It's a question of what you're doing with it. Sometimes it's better to have a little brain and use it for Krishna. A big brain that thinks I know it all. They should take to the chanting of the Lord's holy name and thus perform sacrifice perfectly. Prabhupada says, I have seen that many religious leaders are addicted to performing yajnas and spending hundreds and thousands of rupees for imperfect, I should say millions of rupees now. That's not even enough to buy the wood these days practically. This is a lesson for those who unnecessarily execute such imperfect sacrifices. We should take the advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Yagyaya Sankirtanam Prayajantihi Sumedasaha. Although Shukracharya was a strict Brahmin addicted to ritualistic activity, he also admitted, Nischidram Anusankirtanam Tava. My Lord, constant chanting of your holy name, of your lordship, makes everything perfect. In Kali Yuga, the Vedic literature, ritualistic ceremonies cannot be performed as perfectly as before. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami has recommended that although one should take care to follow all the principles in every kind of spiritual activity, we should do our best not to become negligent. Then it becomes seva aparad. It's not quite the same as Nama or Vaishnava, but it's still an obstacle or a blockage. If we knowingly perform an offense, if we can avoid it, we do our best to follow properly. In our Krishna conscious movement, we therefore give special stress to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in all activities. This doesn't go down, does it? Difficult. Okay, no problem. So that was just a little bit of an introduction. Now what we're going to do is we're going to Achaman. Can we do the Achaman? So Ganesham Prabhu, our beloved temple presence, I was thankful today for you to oversee this ceremony, and Kamsahari Prabhu and his team, who this morning, where is he? There he is, spent most of his japa period preparing the Yajna Kund for today's ceremony. Huh? And thank you for whoever got all the fruits. I've never seen such an array of fruits around the Kund as today. It's quite amazing. And there's enough for breakfast once the ceremony is finished. But have to be patient, We're not in Vrindavan, with the monkeys. You couldn't do that. I mean, in Vrindavan, when you do a ceremony like this, there'd be 10,000 monkeys trying to get in, right? They're seeing all those fruits, and you leave the door open an inch, and you find 6 monkeys pouncing on the whole kund, whipping away the bananas and whatever else they can get. Yes, that's their prerogative. But we hopefully don't have any monkeys here today. So we'll proceed now with the Ashaman. And then after that, then we'll change the beads on the 2 Harinam candidates. Okay. Most devotees today are sitting here to take the vows of Brahmin or second initiation. And only 2 candidates are for first initiation today. Okay, we'll hand over. You have a microphone if you need. Keep it short, sweet, and simple. Om Pavitra. This is another aspect we've got. This is good. We're doing this before 9:31. Another aspect of purification, bringing about auspiciousness. So make sure you chant the mantra loud and get everyone to repeat. Yeah, well, I can do it later. I don't need to do it now. Keep my...
Hare Krishna. So first we'll purify ourselves by...
Don't do anything until the Pujari says so, please.
So first we'll purify ourselves by sipping the water and chanting the mantras. And after that we'll go for another round of purification by reciting Om Apavitra mantra. You can repeat after me. But initially, you can start with sipping the water. Om Keshavaya Namaha.
Does everybody know how to do Achamam? Sometimes candidates are not, first especially, not used to it, It's not something that's necessarily taught. It might be, but not always. So we haven't got enough from one each. The Achamams are limited.
Om Keshavaya Namaha.
Everyone else can chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. If there is one, we can swap it with someone. Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. You ready? Om Apavitra Pavitrova, Om Apavitra Pavitrova.
Hare Krishna. Please repeat Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavastha Gatopiva Yasmare Pundarikaksham Sabaya Bayantara Suchihi Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu.
Explain the meaning for us, please.
So the meaning of this mantra is because of the impurities that we always have, which we are born with and we are surrounded by. The only way to purify ourselves both externally and internally is simply by remembering the lotus feet of Supreme Lord Vishnu and by chanting his holy name. That's the meaning of this mantra.
And thus everything becomes cleansed with both within and without. This is the pavitram, the purifying process of remembering Lord Vishnu in our hearts. So whatever we do, don't forget what is the goal, nectar of devotion, what is Vaishnava should always satatam
Kirtayantam.
smartavya satatam.
Vishnu. Vishmartavya najatvichit.
What does that mean?
Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna.
Yeah. And our motto is always forget him and never remember him. Always remember me and forget Krishna, right? It's me. What about me? How it affected me. You know, they did this to me. And me, and me again. Right? Many times it's like that. We're always judging our... Initiation literally means changing the way we see things. Material life means seeing ourselves in the center. And if we're still seeing ourselves in the center as members of this movement, we must understand we have some work to do. And the work is not necessarily external, it's internal. To change our vision of how we see ourselves and the world around us and others. Try to see how Krishna's hand is working in everything. Not just some administrative factor. The administrative factors and the laws and the adjustments and the dharmas and the this and the that are there only for one purpose, to try to help us to see Krishna in the center. In of themselves, they are useless without coming to that point. They have no value. They just perpetuate the repeated cycle of birth and death. The whole purpose of religion, the whole purpose of Varna Ashram, the whole purpose of this institution is to evoke within us remembrance of Krishna. To start seeing, wow, let me think. What would please Krishna? Well, I don't know what would please Krishna. How am I supposed to know? I can read about it, but he's reading about it too, and he tells me that that's more pleasing, and then this is more pleasing. I'm confused. We both read the Bible, you could say the Gita, day and night, whereas thou read black and I read white. We tend to, take what justifies our wrong vision out of Shastra, out of Guru said. Prabhupada all the time was saying, they keep saying Prabhupada said, but I never said. He may have said, but that was a time, place, and circumstance, We tend to see things like this. We've got to be willing. We can't expect an immediate change. The gradual Cheto Darpanam Marjanam Baba Mahadavagni Navarpanam, slowly a change of our perception. It's not the world that changes. The world's going to be chaos. It's Kali Yuga. Don't get surprised by COVID or wars here and there. Be surprised if there isn't. Don't be surprised that twin towers come down. Be surprised they didn't. This is Kali Yuga. What do you expect? You're not, Prabhupada said. You're in complete illusion if you think you're going to have utopia in this age. It doesn't exist in the material world anyway, or to speak of this age. So, the whole point is to see this as an opportunity to take shelter of Krishna. Take shelter of the holy name. Remember Krishna. In this way, we can even hear Queen Kunti placed in all kinds of difficulties, saying, may these difficulties happen again and again. Why? Is she what they call it? People who like to suffer? Masochist, is it? Or sadist? Which is it? I don't get mixed up. Masochist. No, she's not a masochist. I love suffering. Please make me more suffering, please. What do you want? Give me suffering. Most people say, give that person over there suffering. No, me. She was not a masochist. No, but because in this helpless situation, she's remembering Krishna. We have this tendency to try to defend ourselves, animalistic propensities, or blame somebody else, even worse, attacking propensity, not taking responsibility for our own situation. A Vaishnava is taking responsibility, doesn't blame anyone, by the way, sees his own faults in the matter and tries to take shelter of Krishna. Changing our perception, otherwise we're missing the point, We can't keep adjusting to common mundane morality and people's feelings. Obviously they're taken into account, but they're not the point of it all. The point is, what is Krishna's feelings? And how do we find that out? Different people will interpret it differently. How do you find it out? Say, for instance, you want to know how you can please Ganesham Prabhu. How are you going to find out? Well, yeah, that's a bit direct, isn't it? It's kind of like you don't even know him, Come on, hey mate, how can I please you? What's your name then? Where are you from? What are you doing around here? You don't even never met him, never seen him, don't know him, and you've heard about him maybe, if you're lucky. But how do you normally do it? Okay. Thank you, Nishta. You, Nishtarani. You ask a person. It's the same, for instance, if you want to cook for somebody. Say you invite someone to your home for lunch. What do? You cook what you like? Oh, I like, but what do you like? I know what you like. What do you like? Pizza. I bet you like pizza. Who doesn't like pizza nowadays? Even Indian people like pizzas now, huh? Pizzas. But, you have to find out. I was thinking to cook pizza. What do you think? Do you think they're like that? You may ask their friend or family member, do they like pizzas? They hate pizzas. They hate them. Are you going to cook pizza? If you don't want them to come back again, you will. What do you got? Pizzas. What's the dessert? Pizzas. Sweet pizzas, savory pizzas, fried pizzas, baked pizzas, roast pizzas, boiled pizzas, pizzas everywhere. You're not going to make a good friend there, I tell you. You find out from somebody who knows. So that's the whole principle. Sometimes people say, well, why do I need to take this initiation business seriously? I just chant Hare Krishna. There's more to it than that, isn't there? There's a bit more to it. I'll read this verse here. This is from the Mundaka Upanishad. Now, funnily enough, this is quoted 600 because it may be repeated in Vyasa Puja homage. There's 644 references to this verse in the Vedabase. So that's quite a few. And funnily enough, I thought, definitely the verse will be in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's not one reference in the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita to this verse. The Bhagavatam, in every other scripture, numerous conversations, letters. Prabhupada mentioned so many places, but for some reason, it's not in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Surprising. Mundaka Upanishad. And some of you are familiar with this verse. Tad Vijnanartam Sagarum Eva Bigachet Samitpani Shotyam Brahmanishtam. Perfectly mispronounced. To learn the transcendental subject matter, one must approach, it's not you may, one must approach a spiritual master. In doing so, he should carry fuel to burn in sacrifice. Okay, now listen carefully, this detail is very important. Fuel to burn in sacrifice. Doesn't seem quite appropriate, does it? You will have to come to the temple. When you see your Guru Maharaj is next, you have to bring fuel, oil or paraffin or whatever you use for burning. Dakshin Guru Maharaj, 2 liters of petrol. I thought about buying petrol in Malaysia when I was there just now. I joked. I said, when we go back to France, we'll buy 80 kilos or 80 liters of petrol and take it back to France, because it was a third of the price in Malaysia to what we pay in France. We'd almost recover our airfare just on filling our bags up like that. They said, I don't think they'll let you on the plane with that one. So we changed our mind. But it doesn't quite mean, I mean, it's time, place, and circumstance. It's a detail. There are general principles, which is one must approach a spiritual master. Then there are details within that. The symptom of such a spiritual master is that he is expert in understanding the Vedic conclusion. That doesn't mean he understands or knows every single verse and every answer to every detail that we come up with. It's not important. It may be important, time and circumstance, but it's not ultimately. It's the conclusion which is important. Isn't it? It's like medicine. What is the knowledge? But if it doesn't work, you may know millions of things. But if it doesn't work, what's the use of the knowledge? The result, the actual conclusion is you get healthy. So similarly in spiritual life, you know the conclusion of the Vedas. What's the conclusion of the Vedas? To know Krishna. What does he say in Bhagavad Gita? You Bhakti Vedanta, Bhakti Vaibhava. What do you have to do in Melbourne? Is it still Bhakti Shastri or have they gone up? Still Bhakti Shastri, okay. So you must have studied this verse 101 times. Actually, you know what? This verse is quoted more than any other verse by Prabhupada in the whole Bhagavad Gita. You may not know that, but this is the most commonly quoted verse by Srila Prabhupada. Of all the verses in the Gita, you know what it is? 15:15, you're on the ball. She's on the ball. These people from air are not just up in the air, they're down to earth as well. So yes, yeah, Vedeshia, what is it? Not Vedeshia Yeshu Tapasicheva. Yeah, Vedanta Krit Veda Videva Chaham. What does it mean? Yeah, compiler of the Vedas, the knower of the Vedas, and the conclusion of the Vedas, huh? That's the conclusion. That's the purpose of all Vedic. If you don't know Krishna, what's the use of your Vedic study? No, knowing Krishna is not a theoretical thing. It means the one is surrendered to Krishna completely, understanding our relationship. So why would one not want to take that connection? It says you must. The realization of Krishna is not a theoretical thing. Doesn't come by mechanical chanting either, or by following regulated principles. Neither does it come by amounts of quantitative activity. How does realization of Krishna come? Is it something you kind of like suddenly appears like a chemical formula, boop, and there it is? You mix it all together, 6 million rounds in a row, and only eating, khichdi once a day, and getting up at 1 a.m. and taking an ice cold bath, and then doing this. Is that creates love of God? Does it create realization of Krishna? Is it like a formula? Does somebody else have any idea how it works? Even that. Does that guarantee? It's recommended. But what is the actual cause? Excuse me? Yes. What is the cause? Say it in English. Huh? Oh, yes, I said some Sanskrit words. I was hearing some. Mercy of Krishna. That's all. We're not the controllers. We're conditioner. We're not this body, this mind. We're not in control. We're trying. Perhaps we're not really. We're taking shelter of the control. Rishikena, Rishikesha. Taking shelter of the master of the senses. Yes, the process of devotional service, but it's not a self-manufactured process. It doesn't work like that. You won't get the result. It's like husking the wheat or the rice, but there's nothing inside it. It's just a shell. It looks like it, but there's nothing in it. That ingredient is Krishna's mercy. We've got to evoke his mercy. How do we do that? Excuse me? Our effort, maybe. Maybe. We do our best. We can't guarantee it. Mother Yasoda certainly endeavored intensely to tie Krishna, but ultimately, of course, it was Krishna's. When he saw she had no other shelter, no other idea, completely surrender. When we give up all, that's the deeper meaning of Sarvadharma Pratyaga. We give up all other idea and just surrender. It's a big subject to not touch now. But when there's nothing else, there's no other choice. We realize there is nothing else other than Krishna's mercy. We completely take shelter of Krishna. Do as you wish with me, my Lord. And the soul surrender unto you, etc. So that mercy, when Krishna sees that we are hearing submissively and molding our life to assist his representative in our lives. Is it getting too much? Is it too much for her? Never mind. Prasadam is available if she's hungry. Please take her for prasadam. He's come all the way up from Melbourne. And thank you, all the devotees who've come from Melbourne. Hands up. Who's here from Melbourne? God, quite a group. Who's here from Brisbane? Anyone from Brisbane or Gold Coast? Brisbane, Gold Coast, or New Mayapur, New Govardhan? Quite a lot. From New Mayapur. Anyway, I got two of them. From New Vrindavan. From New Sydney. North Sydney, sorry, not North Sydney. And wherever else you're from. New Zealand. All new today. Everyone's new. Everything's new here today. Fantastic. It's all new. Everything's new. It's a fresh start today. Especially now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So please take this to heart, that this process of initiation is, in fact, if you read Nectar Devotion, within the category of Bhajana Kriya, the practicing category, which may take different stages, but an essential stage is there. And if you read the various, what's it we call, items of devotional service, 64 items, I think the first 5 are all related to taking shelter of a spiritual master, hearing from him or them, and taking initiation and following in their footsteps and so on. Everything else follows from that. Otherwise, we're just preparing ourselves. This is surrender. This is what it means, surrender. Why we're not taking it? There may be reasons. Maybe we haven't yet. Maybe we're not qualified. We're not eligible yet. Fine, fair enough. We're on the process. Be humble. Or maybe somehow or another, Krishna's in the heart guiding. We haven't been convinced, or somebody maybe haven't even met. So that will come in time. Or maybe we're rejecting it because of some other reason. And we have to be careful. We have to look at our own qualification. Maybe I'm holding on to my perception, my false ego, my independence, my way of doing it. I did it my way. You remember that song? Was that Frank Sinatra? Who was it? Some of the younger devotees here will remember it quite well. I did it my way. You died your way. Well, congratulations. You went to hell your way. That's not the point of life, doing it my way. Not even doing it at all. Just do it, Nike says. Nike, isn't it? Just do it. That's not the principle. Just do it. If you're doing it rightly, it's good. I'd probably even use that term, just do it. But it wasn't like just do any damn thing. Do your service properly. Just do it. Don't meditate, speculate, reject, etc., etc. Just go ahead and do it and depend on Krishna. Anyway, it's a very deep subject, but initiation is a central feature of the surrendering process. Without the surrendering process, it's much more than just doing things. It's in the heart of hearts. Even we see in this pastime of Bali Maharaj and Vamanadev, another example actually of that story which is very instructive, the difference in consciousness between Bali Maharaj and his wife Vindhyavali. And Prabhupada points it out quite clearly in the purport, and more so in his lecture on the subject, how Vindhyavali was far more advanced than Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj thought, I did it. I fulfilled my promise. He was a little proud. I fulfilled my promise. I did it. Okay? He's known as Atmani Vednam. And of course he's teaching as an example too, so beyond that, we're not going to say he's anything less than a totally pure devotee, but he was showing an example, we could say, of devotional service which is still tinged with the idea that I'm doing it. Little pride is still there. With Vinjavali, she chastised her husband. She gave him a good, chastisement. I'm sure every husband is familiar with this interaction, you could say, from time to time, and probably the other way around too sometimes. But she gave him a good, talking to. You agnostic fool, she said. You fool. I mean, from a material point of view, he's just given away her last pair of shoes and her last sari and sindoor and everything else that she thought maybe was part of her paraphernalia. Nothing left, not even a frying pan to hit him on the head with. Nothing left. Nothing. All she had left was words. So she gave it to him with words. He said, you are an agnostic fool. Oh, naturally, any wife would. Without even talking to her, he gave everything away. Can you imagine? Whew. You all know what happened to Lord Shiva when he acted without Parvati's permission. Once upon a time, the whole universe almost got destroyed. You have to consult your wife before you breathe. Before you do anything in this world. But he didn't consult with Vinjavali. But that wasn't why she called him an agnostic fool. He said, you are an agnostic fool, you fool. You think now you've fulfilled your promise and done what you wanted to do or you promised to do? When will you wake up and realize you never had a blade of grass in the first place to give away? Nothing ever did and never will belong to you. Nothing. But you are thinking you have given away what is not yours. A neophyte mentality, which is encouraged, but it's not a spiritual transcendental perspective. And we realize that everybody, everything, including this thing, all belongs to Krishna. Everything. The ability, the time, place, everything is all Krishna's. This is Krishna consciousness, a stage of Krishna consciousness. Of course, there's much more than that. But that is a preliminary stage of Krishna consciousness. And this initiation is to help us to realize this is our business. We exist only for the purpose of Krishna's pleasure, pleasing Krishna. And we learn how to please Krishna by this method of surrendering to Krishna's representative. Does it make sense or not? No answer. Okay. You can change your mind. You've still got 5 minutes left to change your mind. Okay. Prasadam is waiting out there. Same with everybody else. I mean, this is probably being recorded as evidence against me, so it's a good idea. It'll help me to surrender. Okay, well, on this occasion, I mean, that's maybe a little heavy. It's joyful and heavy. It is a great relief, isn't it? A great relief letting go of a burden. We're very attached to our burdens. We don't want to let go of them. That's my burden. That sack's mine. Don't you dare touch my sack. My sack is the best sack of all sacks. My way of seeing things is right, yours is wrong. We fight with each other. Mega scale, even amongst ourselves sometimes. Missing the whole point. How can I use this sack for Krishna's pleasure? Not how I can use this sack, to attack somebody, but how I can use it for Krishna's pleasure. And someone else has got a different sack. Great. Variety is the spice of life. Let us encourage them to use theirs as well, for the pleasure of Krishna. This is unity, when Krishna's will is in the center. It's not an artificial imposition of perspective. This is the way to do it, that's the way to do it. Okay, maybe time and circumstance, these things go on. But ultimately, it's a matter of understanding or learning how to act in a way for Krishna's pleasure, with Krishna in the center. Not me, you, or anyone else. Of course, we put Vaishnavas in the center, seeing them as non-different than, you could say, Krishna's Tvadiya, his expansions, his pleasure potencies, whatever. But ultimately, it's for the pleasure of Krishna. Eat for Krishna's pleasure, sleep for Krishna's pleasure, bathe for Krishna's pleasure. Do it in a way. We learn how to do these things step by step, more and more, in the way which pleases Krishna. So if you think it would bring pleasure to Krishna by chastising somebody, fault-finding somebody, undermining someone's endeavors, proudly advertising one's own endeavor, etc., that's up to you. But that's not usually the way it is. And that's what we learn. Initiation means to let go of these things. Sacrifice, surrendering our false egos like this. False egos manifesting in all these varieties of independent behavior and think patterns. So to let go of this takes time. And that's what this movement's for. Sangha is meant by putting Krishna in the center. Gradually, our consciousness can change. So initiation is an essential stage in this, whether it's first or second or whatever stage it is. I'll just read this. We read that. So our time is ticking on. I'm going to finish the chit-chat there, except for just to now recap. I was going to read a fabulous verse from the 4th canto of Bhagavatam, but time doesn't allow. But we will mention the 10 offenses to be performed while chanting the holy names. Is that right? Not performed. Really? My goodness, I learn a lesson a day. I wonder what my problem was. What do you think? Huh? We'll start with the most rarest of all of them, and then we'll move to the more common ones. The rarest offense against the holy name is to be inattentive while chanting. I'm sure nobody in this room has ever experienced that one. We're very careful to be absolutely attentive to every syllable of the holy name without any distraction, right? Silence. What's wrong with you? Too humble. Okay, you're also humble. You don't want to admit the truth. You're so humble. Everyone else, yes, but not me. I'm such a fallen rascal. Everyone else is chanting 100% purely. That's why I keep their association. Isn't it common? Inattention while chanting? Yes or no? Yes. No. Somebody said no. I don't know. They don't think they understood the question. It's very common. What do you think, Ganesham?
Sorry, Mike, I missed it.
Sorry?
No, I was telling them to go and attend to Tulsi
Just go away. It's time to get out of here. Go.
No, to serve Tulsi Maharani.
Self-tossing. Oh, very nice. So, yeah. So what's your opinion on that?
I missed it, Maharaj.
Huh?
So what was the question?
Just see how attentive we are. The question was, do you ever have difficulty with inattention while chanting the holy names?
All the time.
Excuse me, Pro, what was that question? I didn't hear your question. I was doing something else. It's amazing, isn't it? And you were doing something legitimate. I'm not getting on your case, don't worry. You had to legitimately engage the devotees. But even if there's no legitimacy, we find some way of justifying our inattention, right? Especially if anyone got a mobile phone? Anyone got a mobile? Please, why don't you all hand your mobiles in today as Dakshin? You can give them as Dakshin today. Your life would be a lot easier, I'll tell you. What a world without mobiles. Can you imagine such a hell? I mean, such a heaven? A world with no mobiles. Can you imagine it? No SIM cards, no SIN cards. SIN or SIM? SIN card. Is that what they call it? SIN? Get your SIN cards here. SIN card. Huh? What do you think? Can you, has any of you ever experienced, you've experienced that, haven't you? A world without mobiles. Yeah. It wasn't, somehow or other, you imagine people still ate. They still had food to eat. They still had things to do. You know, life went on. It's incredible. Without a bank card. No bank cards. Can you imagine such a world? How will you move? Without a mobile and a bank card, you can't even go to the toilet nowadays. It's a fact. You're in the city, your mobile, nearest toilet, then you have to pay to go in, you know, card only. What a world, huh? If this isn't Kali's playground, I don't know what is. Incredible. We try to use it for Krishna's service, but quite frankly, we sometimes kind of get a bit deviated, huh? Quite often. And even during japa sometimes. You got the bead bag in one hand and the mobile in the other. And, you know, with this wonderful finger is very busy on the mobile. That's why you keep the finger out of the bag if you don't know. Prabhupada could see the future. He could see the future. Make sure you don't put that one inside the bee bag. It's very hard if you don't have it outside the bee bag to send your text messages at 6 o'clock in the morning when you're attentively chanting your japa, etc., etc. Or driving your car. Bee bag in one hand, mobile in the other, elbows on the steering wheel like this, going down the highway at 150 kilometers an hour. No, I did it. No, I didn't. No, you leave me alone, will you? I'm chanting my rounds. I'm on the road. I'm driving. You're driving me crazy. Going down the highway. Safe as, So distractions. So it's innumerable. You don't have to do anything. Even the atmosphere of Kali Yuga. Just the environment is enough to make your mind go crazy. Just the, what do they call it? Electromagnetic waves in the ether affects your brain. In fact, it's a very contaminated age. Chanting Hare Krishna. We have to help each other. Chant Hare Krishna. Come together. Try to focus on Krishna as much as we can. And I know it's not easy. And we all forget and we all do this and that. But this is the idea. That this is the purification. This is the Enechio Sharimaya Nashi Baralagi. This is the medicine that Lord Chaitanya has brought to cure us of Bhavarog, of the material contamination. Bhava. So, not emotional, transcendental ecstasies, but material Bhavarog, the spirit of materialism. So, yes, so that's the communist. We try our best. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti said, I can't remember, said, it is impossible for the jiva to single-handedly control the offense of inattention. It is only possible by the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, one should pray fervently for Krishna's mercy that we chant attentively the holy name. So again, depending on Krishna, not that I can do it by my mechanical willpower. Taking shelter of Krishna is the goal. It's not just a method to the goal, it is the goal. What that entails in its pure sense is another thing. But that's the goal, completely. So this is another opportunity to realize I cannot do it on my own, my way. See? It's not that inattention is the end, it's the beginning of an opportunity to take shelter. And then the other offenses, I'll run through them quickly, or you're going to tell me quickly, we're not going to come out. First offense, to blaspheme the devotees, vilify them, criticize them, etc., who have dedicated their lives to the chanting or the propagation of the chanting of the holy name. Be careful. Number 2, to consider the names of the demigods, like Lord Shiva even, Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. They exist, but not independently. This is Mayavad philosophy, basically. Most greatest barrier to pure devotion. Third offense. I think you got it right. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. I mean, obviously it speaks for itself. Fourth offense. Blaspheme the Vedic literatures or literatures in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth offense. Sixth offense. That was it. The fifth offense was to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna as imagination. Sixth offense is some interpretation on the holy name. We accept what the Guru Shastra Sadhu says, not what we think or someone mundaner. Seventh offense. Yeah. Everyone's the same here. All the offenses are the same. Sixth offense. Seventh offense. Eighth offense. People once saying at a different speed. That's fine. You're seeing it from your heart. Krishna sees the heart. So the seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on strength of chanting the holy name. Eighth offense. Yes, it's not a mundane mantra, this transcendental mantra coming from Goloka Vrindavan. Dum. So, ninth offense. And 10th offense. It doesn't mean you don't preach. Ninth offense, to instruct a faithless person. We don't get into the details. We just try to get everyone to chant. But amongst devotees, we should understand more and more the real nature of the holy name. So that's that. Now I've got one set of beads. Where's the other one gone? Huh? Is it in there still? Is it? Okay, thank you for being so attentive. Yeah, I've got them here. We're just going to do that in a second. Because this is what happened when I got initiated. So we're reenacting a historical event here. Kind of. Part of it, anyway. So those are the 10 offenses. What's the 12th offense? We've done 11, haven't we? Is it 12? Huh? Well, we did 11 because inattention is not one of... We've done 10 and we've also did 11. Seems like 11 rather than 10. Actually, when Prabhupada was in Sydney one time, he saw the sign Paramatta. You know this sign, this township of Sydney? And you know what Prabhupada said? Huh? Huh? Not Paramatma, no, quite the opposite. I thought that's what he would have said too, but he didn't. What did he say? Pramada. Paramatma. Not Paramatma. Paramatta. Pramada, he said. This is simply Pramada, which means madness. Now the word pramada is in these 10 offenses in the Sanskrit. It means to madness or inattention. So it is inclusive, although it's not directly mentioned in most cases. Sometimes it is. In the early translations, Prabhupada had it in there as one of the 10. And I think it was one of the two, interpretation and imagination were merged into one. So whatever, it is inclusive. Okay. And we won't go on to another one, which is very secret. So we're now going to ask somebody to kindly change the neck beads. Because probably when we got initiated in London in 1972, we didn't have neck beads on. And the initiate was very unique because those days we didn't have kurtas, we were T-shirts, and we didn't have neck beads. We had tilak on, and we didn't have neck beads, and we didn't have special japa beads. Whatever we could find, whatever we'd already been chanting on, was what Prabhupada got for chanting on. It was a little different in those days. It's matured a little bit, you could say, since then. But the neck beads was a very serious thing to Prabhupada. And we went up, a group of us, there was 30 of us taking initiation. We went up, first ones to go up, 2 or 3 of us. And Prabhupada said, "Where are the neck beads?" We didn't have any neck beads on, so he said, "Take them back, go back. Put neck beads on first, then we'll call again." So neck beads must go on before the names are given. So we're now going to ask a Vaishnav dressed appropriately, initiated preferably, to please. These are Sandeep's neck beads. Now just introduce you. This is put your hand up, Sandeep. This is Sandeep Prabhu, and someone can do that. Whoever, I don't mind who, anyone, whoever. Rasik, you're close, so you're close. Also, now you're closer. There you go. Put those on Sandeep. I think they're big enough. He's got quite a strong frame, but I think they'll be. But take the old ones off. Put the new ones on. Change of dress. Huh? Take the old ones off, and now new ones. Dog collar is now going on. A new dog collar. And we have here also for Nishta. And when they come up, I'll talk a little. When they start, I'll talk a little bit about them. For Nishta, one of the ladies, please. Nishta Rani for Nishta. There we go. Thank you. There we go. Take the old ones off and put the new ones on. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There's Sandeep Prabhu. Is your wife here, or is she out with the baby? You're at the door. Great. Your daughter's okay? Okay, good. So they've come up from Melbourne, and of course, I've known your wife's name since you've been in Melbourne. But Sandeep, I've known him, 1990 something, isn't it? 97 or something? Not so long. Huh? Oh, I thought it was lots longer. When you were there with, what's her name, in the dramas? Amritavani. It was when you were doing the dramas. He's a very good actor, by the way. I don't know if you were doing that in Melbourne. But he used to be in our dramas, I thought it was a lot longer. But 13 or 14 years ago in Auckland. And he was part of our drama group. Is that right? And different performances, etc. So then moved to Melbourne, and since then we've been keeping in touch. And for many years he's been preparing, and now by the grace of their lordships and the Vaishnavas, he's been recommended for initiation by the management of Melbourne Temple. Nishtarani's situation, Nishtara's situation is her whole family are devotees. Her parents were initiated. Her brother is also recommended, he's younger, for initiation by the local authorities there in Hamilton. So they have their recommendations from Hamilton, although they're living over here now for quite some time. And Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. The devotees taking their vows for taking second initiation. Mataji, what was your name? Rati? Rati Devi Dasi. Mataji, from Kadambakana Maharaj, isn't it? She's already taken her vows for second initiation and is already chanting Gayatri Mantra. Disciple of my very dear friend, we've always been very close to each other, Kadambakana Maharaj, who gave her initiation. So, and we also, I don't know, he's not really asking or evoking prayers. He seems to be getting healthier day by day. Maybe it's the result of so many prayers, I don't know, but he said he was he feels more active now than a year ago. He planned to start traveling again last time we spoke. I don't know if he's now, but a few weeks ago. But Krishna, again, is the controller. So wonderful preacher of Prabhupada's mission. Where? Oh, you're doing it in the yagya too, because they told me one in the beginning, but you've joined us, have you? Fabulous. Also Kadambakana Maharaj or Krishna Kshetra? Ah, Krishna, another wonderful friend of mine from a long time ago, from the 70s, when he was in Germany. Wonderful. Now, wonderful sadhu, Krishna Kshetra Maharaj. Does he come here? Not really. He comes unreally, but not really. One time. Are you from Australia? You're from Poland. So you met him in Europe, or how? Okay, fantastic. You're living here now. Wonderful. So thank you so much. We have two wonderful Vaishnavas here, just sitting in on the yagya to solidify their vow, to create also an impression of samskar in our hearts stronger, make it stronger. And a few of our first initiated disciples here are accepting not sannyas yet. A few more years, boy, okay? Okay? Have to get the blessings of mum and dad, though, first as well. Shyamananda Madhava's son, Achyutakeshava, is taking second initiation today. And I hope they'll be doing a little puja here at the temple in the future. Second initiation, well, especially is a big topic, but it's especially to enhance our service to our Gurudevs and to our Parampara, and especially in the form of worshipping the deities, which is a very important aspect of our movement, although it's not the Yuga Dharma. It's so important to support the Yuga Dharma. So second initiation is really a big support to our vows of first initiation, to chant. So those who are taking second initiation, as much as we can, time, place, and circumstance, is to enhance our vows, first initiation, and to worship the deities in a way which is pleasing to them. So please take that as much as you can on board. Some of you live at a distance. It's not possible to come to the temple, but when the chance arises, please do so. So we have, who have we got here? Srilekha? Oh, I couldn't see from behind. Srilekha, beloved Srilekha here from Sydney. They got Radhasaki here from the Gold Coast, maybe near the Gold Coast, Mawulambar. So maybe she'll be worshipping Radha Govardhan Dari. The deities, her husband is here somewhere also. There's a lot of service there. Nishtarani has now moved from Brisbane up to Ayr. Is that right? Ayr. So whether you have a temple, you have your own temple, but maybe when you come to other temples, you can do some puja. And thank you all very much for being with. Is there anyone else sitting in on the yagya? Is that it? Okay, so 8 devotees. We've already changed the neck beads, is that correct? So now we're going to ask the 2 candidates for first initiation to please come forward and receive their initiation beads and their new name, etc., provided they pass this very severe test. This test is not an easy one. You may think that, huh? Oh yeah, we're going to come to that. We're just preliminaries right now. You may think that the tests in Melbourne were severe, but this one leaves everything in the dust of the Dham. So first, I think practical. I mean, this is not the normal way. Practical. First, offer your obeisances to Prabhupada, then to the deities, and then come here. Normally, we do it a different way, but it means going and coming 2 times. Not so practical. So, Sandeep, what do you have to say about your husband? Is he? This is your chance. No. Is he okay? Is he a good boy?
He's a lovely boy.
He's a good boy, okay. Does he mind? Huh?
I'm glad my mom found him for me.
What was that? What was that?
I'm glad my mom found him for me.
Oh, wow. Haribol. We're glad too. We're glad he's a lucky man to have such a wonderful wife also. I must say, I think it was a match made in heaven, as they say. Is that what it is? Hare Krishna. I hope so. Pardon? A basis to your wife first, is it? Jai Shri Radha Gopinath. Radha Balaba, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra and Gauri Thai deities, but they're no different. The first deities in Australia, Radha Gopinath. Jai Radha Gopinath Ki Jai. They're all expansions. Hare Krishna, Sandeep Prabhu. Now, you're going to give me a second here. There's no one from your temple. So one of the reasons I missed Prahlad's class was because we were busy trying to make sure we didn't give a name that somebody else in your community has already got. And it took a while. Fortunately, Prabhav was here and he helped me out a little bit. Hey, don't sit too close, you'll see the names. Where are you going? Okay, that's good enough. Okay. Let me just see now. You haven't got your back to the clock. Okay, you're allowed for that one. You're allowed to have your back to the clock. It's okay. Although it's time. Krishna says, time I am, but still. There's a warning there. Be careful. There's a CCTV camera looking at us all. Nothing is unrecorded here. The deities are watching everything. And they're blessing it. All the devotees and Prabhupada, everybody else. So Sandeep Prabhu, thank you so much for being with us today and for making the step forward in your spiritual life. Now the final test, okay, at least for first initiation. Initiation's the beginning, by the way. I remember watching an initiation by Mukunda Maharaj a few months ago. A very close friend of mine from London was getting initiated by His Holiness Mukunda Maharaj, Indian boy. And the initiation, his speech lasted 2 minutes. He said, initiation means the beginning. It's not the end. It means now you begin. He said, I'm giving you a piece of paper with what you have to do on it. Your name is so-and-so. End of initiation lecture. That was it. 2 minutes long. Pretty short and sweet, huh? Everything in 2 minutes. So I dragged things on. So what are the 4 regulated principles?
Maharaj, so no gambling, no illicit sex, no meat eating, including fish and eggs, and no intoxication, which includes tea and coffee.
Is that good, Ganesham Prabhu? You okay with that? What's the law for chocolate around here? There's no more principle. No worries. We'll let that go. I asked Jayadvaita Maharaj. Jayadvaita Maharaj is writing a book on the 4 regulated principles. That's one of his upcoming books. I said, Maharaj, what about chocolate? Is that in your book? He said, we don't go there anymore. There's been more than enough talk about chocolate in amongst the leaders of ISKCON. You could occupy a whole volume of books, and not go in there. Forget it. Take it or leave it. I personally have avoided chocolate for 51 years, except for when some loving disciples or devotees unknowingly have put chocolate inside of some cake or something or another. Halava, chocolate halava or something. I never knew until it was like... But anyway, I'll leave it up to you. We're not going to get down there. Some say yay and some say nay. But we will continue to pray. No matter what they say. Hare Krishna. And what about chanting rounds?
Right. A minimum of 16 rounds each day, and more on Ekadashi, preferably 25.
Or more. Fantastic. Everyone okay? We want all to give blessings. Yeah. Madungas, it's not over yet. There's a little bit more yet. And Madungas, cartels, whatever else you have here at your disposal. What's going on now? Oh, you're heading out back. What service do you do there in the temple in Melbourne? Eh? Plenty of fruit to cut today, no problem. No shortage of fruit cutting, that's for sure.
Yes, Maharaj. Fruit cutting Sunday mornings, Maharaj. Saturday, sometimes just a class to give class.
You
Maharaj.
give class?
Yes, Maharaj.
Wow, wonderful.
Saturday evenings.
You have Namahat program too, don't you? Bhakti
Yes.
Riksha.
Yes, Maharaj.
You're active in the Bhakti Riksha
Yes, Maharaj.
program. So, working man, family man, you do your best. That's the main thing. You do your best. You can't imitate. We're not here to imitate. We're not here to think better or worse. We're just here to try to enhance and encourage others and try to do our best. That's all. But it's not just what we do, but try to develop a nice service attitude. Always. You've got it already. Try to maintain that no matter what happens around us. Keep that service, that humble Vaishnav Seva, Nam Seva, devotional service attitude. Whatever goes on around you, try not to get too much captivated by somebody's trips and this and that. So I don't know, I thought so many beautiful, beautiful names. Usually it starts with an S because Sandeep is S, right? Begins with the same letter. Usually Prabhupada would do that, not always. So we follow that because if you look, I have a difficulty sleeping. Sometimes what I do when I can't sleep is I think of all the names of Krishna I can remember beginning with A. And I think 2 nights ago I fell asleep thinking of S's. And there were so many S's. So many S's, maybe more than any other, I don't know. But because there's a certain words in S which you can put anything behind it. Practically, isn't it? Or any name of Krishna. Like, who can think of a word that, you put things behind it, beginning with S? Sham, maybe? Sham and Krishna, Sham Kishore, Sham this, Sham that. Okay, but there are others too. So I discussed with, where's he? There's Prabhu a little bit. He's the first, youngest, huh? Youngest disciple of Srila Prabhupada. How old were you when you took initiation? 9 years old. Wow. He took initiation from Srila Prabhupada at the age of 9. Amazing. He's the youngest disciple of Srila Prabhupada. I won't ask how many old you are now. You're older than 9, I can see that. But you're still quite young compared to most of us, huh? Still in your 50s, huh? There you go, he's just a young boy still. 56 years old. Amazing, huh? You might be the last, Bharavita did that whole drama, the last disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Ooh, can you imagine? So anyway, we come giving you a name. Your daughter came up to me this morning and said, "What name will my daddy have after initiation?" So I thought of a name which is very easy, very beautiful, and very wonderful name. Das. Das. No. Her surname is Das. Everybody were Dasi, isn't it? That's her real name, Her family name is Das. Don't forget that always. Not that I'm Govinda. Who are you? I'm Govinda. I'm Nrsingadev. We're Das, Anu Das. That's initiation. Becoming the disciple of the disciple, disciple, disciples, disciple, 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 etc., etc. Your name, are we ready? Your name is Sri Vrindavan Das. Haribo! Haribo. Sri Vrindavan. Is that okay? I can change it if you don't like it. I've got 2 or 3 other names. Is that okay? Your daughter's okay with that? Sri Vrindavan. You can call him Sandeep, you can call him Sri, you can call him Sri Sandeep or Sri Vrindavan, Vrindavan Sri. You can choose whatever is easy for you, but Sri is easy for you. But Sri Vrindavan, is that okay? You happy with that? Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj was telling me, sometimes he has to change the names. They come and complain to him afterwards. He says he's had to change names. I had to do it one time in the Philippines. Were you with me? I gave initiation one. I went through with the managers. What's a good name? I said. I gave them a few choices, and they said, "Oh, this one's fine." I said, "Are you sure it was okay in the Philippines? Doesn't mean funny. You got to check on the language too. You see." He said, "No, that's great." So I gave her this name. I can't remember what it was, Loka Priya or something. Loka Priya. And I gave the name. I thought everyone would cheer. It's a word which is used to describe a mad person. No, he didn't. Temple president didn't even notice it. Maybe they think they're mad. So I had to change that one, and it became Vishakapriya. So different name. Sri Vrindavan. But there's no problem with that name, is there? It's okay. You'll be okay. Oh, you're not. Sydney, you're not from. Is that okay, Sri Prabha Prabhu? Sri Vrindavan Prabhu Ki Jai, Haribo. So now, following the same suit, Nishta, if you can offer your obeisances. Many, many years, and I'm not going to say the time because I'm obviously thinking it's a lot longer than it is, but for many years I've been associated with her family in Hamilton and in New Zealand and with the children since they were little. And they're a wonderful family of devotees. And Nishta has been a devotee pretty much all of her life. And, gone through many different, let's say, purificatory experiences in life, etc., has become very sincere and serious to serve Prabhupada's mission. She loves kirtan, by the way. She loves singing kirtan, very good kirtan singer. And now living in Melbourne for the time being. Let's see what Krishna's plans are. Now, this, I had to check this morning, it was all literally last, wasn't it, Prabhu? It's a last minute thing, like 8:28, I'm on the phone. Eventually we got somebody in Melbourne to, tell us if someone's got this name or that name, Because, they get upset sometimes when you give the same name as, the head pujari or the secretary or something like that, So, I just have to look at the list here. Just give me a sec. Here we are. And you're always going to get more than one devotee with almost the same name. I'm sure you've got someone in Sydney with Sri Hari or Sri Gauranga or something like that too, right? Or in Melbourne. It's always going to be the case. But don't get too, that's my name. Who are you to have my name? Who do you think you are? And even Prabhupada had, I think, 3 or 4 Shamsundars as disciples. I know another Janananda, disciple of Prabhupada also. And many times Govinda, several Govindas like that, And Ambarish, I think there's a couple of those too. So don't worry if there's someone else in Melbourne with a similar name. Is that okay? Because there's so many devotees in Melbourne, so many. So Nishta, can you tell us what the 4 regulated principles are?
No meat eating, and no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling.
No gambling. I'm sure you know the extensions of those 4.
No fish and eggs, and no tea and coffee.
Yeah, no tea, coffee, fish, eggs, no cigarettes, no liquor, no drugs, no onions, right? No onions, no garlic. Ooh, hard for many Indian devotees, isn't it? You're brought up on, isn't it? Many Indians are addicted practically to garlic. That's such a strong thing, especially if you're from Punjab. Oh, sorry about that. Isn't it, Sham? They like their onions and garlic up there, don't they? My God, do they? But he's given it all up. And are you any worse for giving it up? No. Better? Much better. They even say to the flight pilots, and this is a fact, they're not allowed to eat garlic for, I think, 2 days before they fly. It affects you so much, your ability to be attentive, etc. Very unnecessary. It can be medicinal sometimes, but that's an exception to the case. And how many rounds a day, Nishna?
A minimum of 16.
Minimum 16. Ekadashi?
The 25.
Well, it's
Oh.
not a rule, but you try to chant as many as you can on the Kadashi. 25 is a figure mentioned, but Prabhupada didn't say it's a rule, but at least you try to chant more on Kadashi. 25 or more if you can. So, this time has come. I've got a microphone. So are we ready? All set? Please give your blessings to Nishta in front of the deities. A long, long time she's been practicing. Many years, isn't it? So many. And now this wonderful occasion, this festive occasion in front of their lordships, in front of all the wonderful devotees, in front of Srila Prabhupada, in front of the fire. So your name is Nikunja Vasini Devidasi. Haribo! Nikunja Vasini Devidasi ki jai. Haribo! Jai. Is that okay? Is it okay? You look worried. Is that okay? You sure? Not sure? Good. Nikunja. There is another Nikunja in Melbourne. What's her name? Nikunja Biharia. So there's another Nikunja. The more Nikunjas, the better. The whole world can be called Nikunja. It's in the groves, those secret groves. One who's in there serving the residents. Huh? Residents. Vilasini. Vasini. Nikunja Vasini. So we have the bridge of Vasis. What are they? They're the residents of Vrindavan. So Nikunja Vasini are the residents of the groves where Krishna enjoys his most intimate pastimes. So you're the servant of those most intimate associates of the Lord. Those are most intimate when they're not even described, practically speaking. They're in those secret groves, the Kunjas, Vrindavan Dham. So today is Vrindavan Dham Day, huh? Sri Vrindavan and the Kunja Vasini. Sri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Haribo! Glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, thank you all very much. We'll move on now. And now with the yoga. We're a little late, I'm sorry about that, but not too bad. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Now, if you've touched your toes, if you've touched your nose, you've touched your ears, you've touched whatever else you shouldn't touch, you can do a quick Hachaman again. Because an hour and a half or something like that has passed. It'd be surprising if you haven't. Okay. Yeah, I've got to come forward if I'm going to throw the grains. These grains, when we offer the grains, it's like offering your, all the, you're getting rid of all your anartas. They're being burned in the fire of yajna, sacrificing them, the mouth of Vishnu. So let us offer our very life in the service of Prabhupada's mission. Hare Krishna. Now we need 4 devotees making a position on the 4 quarters, 4 shastras. Who are those 4 devotees? One here, one sitting over there.
Hare Krishna. We are going to do Vaishnava Homa today. We'll be repeating the prayers. So please hear the prayers attentively and repeat word by word. And every time I say Swaha, you offer the grains. You don't touch the grains with your forefinger. You can use the other four and you throw the grains. We are going to offer oblations to all the acharyas in our parampara. Not fully. Not fully. Yeah. Prabhu, get the pranam mantra for Prasad Master. And check with them for the other. Chaitanya. Badadhar Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya. That's okay, I'll just say that normally. Hare Krishna. Atavyasta Samasta Mahavyariti Homam. Every time I say Swaha, please offer the grains. Om Bhur Swaha Idam Vishnave Idam Namama. Om Bhuva Swaha Idam Achyuta Idam Namama. Om Swa Swaha Idam Narayana Idam Namama. Om Bhur Bhuva Swa Swaha Idam Ananta Idam Namama. Ata Vaishnava Homam. Please repeat the prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Swaha Idam Gurave Idam Namama. Om Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Swaha Idam Rasacharya Idam Namama. Om Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunata Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Swaha Idam Guru Gauranga Radha Krishna Sarva Vaishnava Tattva Vibhyo Idam Namama. Om Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Janananda Goswami Iti Namine Swaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Kadambakanana Swami Iti Namine Swaha Om Nama Om विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते कृष्णक्षेत्र स्वामी इति नामिने स्वाहा नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने स्वाहा इदं संस्थापकाचार्य इदं नमः ओम नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे स्वाहा इदं संस्थापकाचार्याय इदं नमः ओम नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने स्वाहा इदं परमगुरवे इदं नमः ओम श्री वार्षभानवे देवी दैताय कृपाब्दये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः स्वाहा इदं परमगुरवे इदं नमः ओम माधुर्योज्वला प्रेमाध्या श्री रूपानुगा भक्तिदा श्री गौरा करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते स्वाहा इदं परमगुरवे इदं नमः ओम नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगा विरुद्धा अपसिद्धांता द्वंतहारिणे स्वाहा इदं परमगुरवे इदं नमः ओम नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलंबा रसाम्बोधे पदाम्बुजाय ते नमः स्वाहा इदं परापरगुरवे इदं नमः ओम नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगा वरायते स्वाहा इदं महागुरवे इदं नमः ओम गौरविर्भाव भूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्ट सज्जनप्रियः वैष्णव सार्वभौमा श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः स्वाहा इदं परमेष्टि गुरवे इदं नमः ओम वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा इदं सर्ववैष्णवेभ्यो इदं नमः ओम नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेमा प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः स्वाहा इदं गौराय इदं नमः ओम पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपा स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं स्वाहा इदं पंचतत्वाय इदं नमः ओम हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते स्वाहा इदं कृष्णाय इदं नमः ओम जयतां सुरतो पंगोर मम मंद मतिर्गते Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madanamohano Swaha Idam Sambandadi Deva Madan Mohana Idam Namama Om Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prastalibi Sevyamano Smarami Swaha Idam Abhideyadi Deva Govinda Idam Namama Om Shriman Rasa Rasarambhi Vamsivata Tatastitaha Karshan Venur Shwaner Gopir Gopinata Shreyastunaha Swaha Idam Prayojanadi Deva Gopinataya Idam Namama Om Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Swaha Idam Radhikaya Idam Namama Om Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Swaha Idam Panchatattva Idam Namama Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Swaha Idam Radha Krishna Abhyam Idam Namama Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Swaha Idam Radha Krishna Abhyam Idam Namama Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Swaha Idam Radha Krishna Abhyam Idam Namama Atavyasta Samasta Mahavyahritti Homam Om Bhur Swaha Idam Vishnave Idam Namama Om Bhuva Swaha Idam Achyuta Idam Namama Om Swaswaha Idam Narayana Idam Namama Om Bhur Bhuva Swaswaha Idam Ananta Idam Namama. May we request everyone to please stand up. We will do the Purna Ahuti now. Please leave your plate now down and just pick the banana in your hand. Hold the mic. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Swaha. Hare Krishna. Now we can do the parikrama around the fire, 3 rounds. Let the initiation candidates do that first and then others can join. We'll leave it out. It does.
Ram Hare Rama, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Slower, slower. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gopinath Radhe, Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. One more. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, His Holiness Janananda Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Tiger Premanande.